Hey YouTube. No, I did a video yesterday showing my junk doppel deck, but I wanted to, because you guys did such a, again, fantastic job, one of the highest viewed decks of the new format on my first video. I wanted to show you a new deck I'm working on. I'm working on the Fableds. I actually, like I said yesterday, I was able to pick up a box of Hidden Arsenal 4, so I was able to get my hands on all of the new Fabled stuff. I was able to get my 3 Cerburrels, which is, I thought was going to be one of the stretches, and I had some of the stuff like this here, Fabled Unicore from DT. So I just wanted to run through the deck. For those of you who don't know how Fableds work, Fableds are cards that when they're discarded from your hand, they special summon or they can destroy. Or they do a various amount of things, or they can even revive. Basically, a main is discard engine, and what differentiates them from Dark World monsters is when they're discarded anyway, even when it's by cost for such as Phoenix Wing, Wind Blast. So, if you want to run a lot of different discarding spells and traps, you could work. So getting onto the deck and how it's being played. If you guys have any fixes, those of you who are very good at Fables, feel free to ask me. If you want me to do a deck profile on any deck in the format, please let me know. I could always print out like fake proxies and show how I would run it if you want. So we'll start off 3 Fabled Grimro. What Grimro does is it's basically Rhoda. If you have another Fable in the field, you could pitch it to add any Fabled monster or the Fabled monster from your deck to your hand, and that can help you with continuing on a lot of the long combo plays that Fableds can do. So there's those 3. Then there's 3 Fabled Krus, who gets a lot better with the new set. Fabled Krus revives when it's discarded anyway. You can revive a level 4 lower Fabled that includes synchros, such as the Fabled Unicore, who could be a real pain for a lot of people playing. And it's just, being able to revive anything is great at any time, especially with all the tuners in a deck. You could have a lot of synchro summoning going on. 3 Fabled Cerburrel. Pretty much simple effect. When it's discarded to the graveyard, special summon it. It is mandatory, so you cannot make it miss its timing. The Fabled Cerburrel is a 2-star tuner with 1,000 attack. Very simple, easy to flood the field, and you can do a lot of long combos. And Cerburrel is at the forefront of this. This is staple in the deck. This is going to be one of the big money cards out of the new Hidden Arsenal coming out. Next, I'm running 3, the Fabled Ganashia, also known as Elephant. Right? People call it Elephant because it is. It's just a Hidden Arsenal Super. It'll be pretty easy for most people to get their hands on. And Ganashia is a 1600 beater who, when it's discarded, special summon it, and it gets 1800 attack. And the downside is when it's removed from the field, when special summon that way, it's removed from play. A lot of quick synchroing. Ganashia has a lot to do with it, and just the 1600 attack helps a lot when going in for the kill with cards like Ancient Sacred Wyvern. 2, the Fabled Catsith. I love this card. Mixed with the Fabled Kushano, you could do a lot of really wicked combos. When this card's discarded to the graveyard, destroy 1 face-up card in the field. It's mandatory, so you have to be careful. You can't flip a Morphing Jar against an empty field and expect Catsith to just destroy everything, because it'll have to pop something and it'll end up being your Morphing Jar. But a lot of the times, Catsith can go off without a problem, and it can destroy a lot of those face-up field spells that wreck the format. So Catsith is wonderful. Plus, tuner, 1-star tuner. 2, the Fabled Chawa, one of your better discard cards. Could be dead in hand, so I'm just running 2 for now. I've been running between 2 and 3. And this card, you can discard another Fable to special summon it from your hand, so it triggers the other Fables, which will revive them. This in Ganashia is a free Unicorn. And this in Catsith is a free destruction, plus having a 1-star tuner on the field. And the last Fabled monster is Fabled Kushano. Kushano is a great card because a lot of the times you don't have a discard outlet. You know, you have a lot of like really good cards, like a double Cerburrel and a Ganashia in your hand, and that could be a lot of good plays, but you don't have an outlet. And Ganashia and the Fabled Kushano is something that as long as it's in the graveyard, you'll always be able to discard something. Now, one of the better combos in the deck is with the Fabled Catsith, right? You have 1 card in hand, your opponent has a monster. You discard Catsith to add Kushano, That breaks even, and then you destroy a card on the field. That's a +1 for no reason. And then you still can normal summon 3-star tuner. So the Catsith Kushano combo is one of the best in the Fabled deck, and you can get a lot of pluses off of it if done correctly. Now, for monsters outside of the Fabled theme, I'm playing 17, I believe, Fabled monsters. You can check in the description for the deck lists. I'm not sure the exact number at the moment because I've been changing it. One Cold Enchanter, my friend Chris Camu, shout out to him, turned me onto this card because of its ability to unlimited discard. Right, this card you could discard a card just to put an ice counter on it, and for every ice counter it gains 300. But you can use it to just flood the field and go for game. Right, a lot of the times that a lot of cards they rely on your opponent to do stuff, but Cold Enchanter really can just open up the place for yourself. One Dandylion. I see with a lot of synchro summoning. Any deck that can synchro a lot and can flood the field with tuners, I like to play Dandy, because Dandylion can give you access to Formula and to a lot of different plays, and it's just a really strong card, right? There's no reason not to play one if you're going to synchro a lot. Dandylion can really give you a lot of options. One Glow Up Bulb. Playing Dandy in the deck, Glow Up Bulb is just it's a free tuner. It's a free +1 for any reason, and a lot of times that could be the difference between making a Catastor and a Brionac when Brionac can win you the game. So, one Glow Up Bulb. One Honest. There's a lot of lights in the deck, and I was skeptical at first of playing Honest, but you're always synchroing into light monsters, and there's always going to be lights in the field. And Honest is just a really good hit and run card. Also, the ability to summon, swing, bring it back to hand, pitch later. Even at 1, yeah, it's not consistent, but Honest should never be a win condition. It should just be a really good tool. And I've had people just try to crash over my face up like a Chawa with their Shooting Star Dragons and with their Thought Rulers, and I could just pitch Honest, and it destroys from hand, which is great. One Morphing Jar, need I say more? Basically, if you could flip the jar against any deck, if you flip it on your turn, you probably won that turn, because discarding and then special summoning, you're going to get a lot of pluses. One, the Tricky. Most people say run 2, but I think 1, the Tricky, is fine, because you're still going to be, throwing your hand on the table to play the Tricky. Right? I'm not a big fan of throwing your hand just on the table unless you're going for game that turn. And the best you're going to do with Tricky is make a Wyvern, which if you're already in a big lead, or a Black Rose with Cerburrel. So I think just 1, the Tricky, is fine, and 1 Sangan. Any deck synchroing a lot should play a Sangan, and it can search out pretty much anything in the deck outside of Ganashia and Grimro and Tricky, but everything else is searchable, and I love being able to search for Honest. That is a great play. So this is the monster lineup. It's a very high monster count deck, so beware. So onto the spells. I'm playing 1, 2, 3 Monster Reincarnation. Happy enough to pick up 3 super rares the other day, and that's one thing about this deck. It's very shiny, right? Because it's a hidden arsenal deck. And 3 Monster Reincarnations, because you can. One of the best combos in the deck also is if you have a Cerburrel in hand and a Monster Reincarnation and a Grimro in the graveyard. You play Reincarnation, you pitch Cerburrel, you add Grimro, and then you search your deck. So you have a tuner in the field, then you could just keep going with your play. So Monster Reincarnation gets you back those monsters in hands that you want to discard to do more damage with, and it can give you back anything. You could take back Honest, right? Which is which sometimes can win you, has won me plenty of games reincarnating for Honest. Okay, 1 card Destruction, broken in this deck, broken card. As long as you have anything that could do anything, you plus off a card D. There was a time when I opened up with a Ganashia, a Wing Blast, a Cerburrel, I believe a Tricky, and Sangan. I just set the Wing Blast and I played card D, special 2, draw 4. All of a sudden I'm +2 on my opponent for no reason, and then I started synchroing a lot, and I won that duel very quickly. Dark Hole, staple, no need to talk about it. Foolish Burial, you want to put Kushano or Dandylion in the grave, or maybe even Glow Up Bulb. So with those cards, you really need them in the graveyard, and you really don't want to mill here, right? So 1 Foolish, Giant Trunade, staple. A card that I love being able to play is Lightning Vortex. Say no more. Lightning Vortex, you pop their whole monster row, especially if it's phase up, especially with a lot of decks flooding tokens, and You Lightning Vortex, you pop the whole field, and then you special summon a bunch of stuff. But you special summon a card considering what you did. Or if it's Krus, you revive. Monster Reborn, staple. Double MST, staple. And only one Pot of Avarice, because I feel like sometimes you avarice so quick that you leave your... And I run it in plants, I run it in twos because you could just get a lot of pluses, but one avarice I believe is fine here, because you just add back from your graveyard. You want to leave some stuff in your graveyard. You know, you don't want to be too dead, and these can be dead draws, especially with all the discard cards. You don't want to be pitching your avarices. So I think one avarice is fine. Traps, just 4 traps. I'm playing 3 Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. This card is a tremendous card. It could win games very quickly. Situation that I had the other day was I had a Catsith in hand. I was playing against the Unity deck, and the player tried to summon ducks. I wing blasted it back when he got the card. I wing blasted it back. I pitched Catsith, and I destroyed the Dragon Ravine. 3 Wing Blast, it's probably the best discard card. You could also play Divine Wrath, you could play Karma Cut. There's a lot of different cards you could play, but I believe Wing Blast is the best card for discarding cards in your hands in terms of traps. And I'm playing one card. I'm playing it right now almost as a nostalgia purpose. I'm playing 1 Magic Jammer. This card years ago when I was just a young lad, was a really expensive card and a really good card. In Fables it works well. There's a lot of big spells that you're going to want to negate. You're going to want to negate Dark Hole, you're going to want to negate Monster Reborn, sometimes Dragon Ravine. I had the same situation. Gravekeeper's player, if he tries to use Gravekeeper Steely, when Necro Valley on the field, I was able to jam it, and then pitch Catsith, pop Necro Valley, and then all was on from there. Jammer is a card that I love to play. I believe there's not a lot of spell negation right now, but there's a lot of really good spells. So Jammer is horrible in every other deck. Fabled is great. Let's go to the extra deck. The extra deck has lots of... it's pretty packed right now, actually, for me. I have to do a little bit of work on it. I have a couple of cards that I want to run, but I can't. I'm just playing 1 Formula Sychron. There's not that much token abuse. You know, you get out the 1 formula and you could synchro from there. 1 Armory Arm. This deck makes 4s really easily, and sometimes it's doing it with Bulb. So Armory is actually a card that's just there just because it's a level 4. To be honest, a lot of the times he won't even last on the field by the end of the turn. 1 Fabled Kuddabi. I'm trying this. This is a good late game card. When you're top decking, it can't be destroyed. It can still be removed from play, and it's not a great card, but it's still in testing. Sometimes it can win you a game easily, but a lot of the times it can kind of be detrimental. I'm not a huge fan of Kuddabi. Fabled Unicore, this card I am a huge fan of. When this card reads, very simply, while you and your opponent have the same number of cards in hand, negate all spells, traps, and effect monsters activated by your opponent and destroy that spell, trap, or monster. The ruling states this does negate spell speed 3. So if you have this guy out and you guys have the same number of cards in hand, you can go free. This protects you from anything. And you have a Unicorn in the field, you can, late game, when you're both top decking, you probably won. He is almost impossible to get rid of. Okay, and he's Krus revivable, which is great. 1 AOJ, Catastor, just get over some stuff. 2 Fabled Ragin. This is a really good draw power card. If you guys know what it does, when you have 2 or less cards in hand, go until you have 2. And a lot of the times you can just make a 5 when you have no cards in your hand, and it's a plus. You just keep plussing. 1 Brionac, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. Get him on the field. You probably won the duel because you're going to be going off and off and off, and it's easy to make sick because Brionac's very important in Fables. He's great everywhere. 1 Ancient Sacred Wyvern. You could OTK very fast in this deck because of Wyvern. Right. The reason I'm not playing Solemn Judgment is because of this guy. And you get out 2 Ganashia, and you attack directly with both of those, and Wyvern will pump up to a ton, and it's fairly easy to get that off. And Ancient Sacred Wyvern can get really powerful really fast. 1 B-Rose, staple field clear. You know, Black Rose Dragon is just One card that kind of will define the 5Ds era, I believe, when you really think about it. Black Rose and Stardust Dragon are going to be the two that really define the 5Ds era, which sadly is coming to an end soon. One Scrap Dragon, too good not to play. You can check my other videos for my thoughts on Scrap. One Stardust, stapled, and